Hey, today I'm going to be making a flashlight out of a sonicare toothbrush. My family's gone through 3 of these in many years. What happens to us is something always mechanical breaks, but the electronics are good, the battery's good. You can see on this one here the little post that has the that you stick the toothbrush on is broken. So we're going to recycle this and make it into a flashlight. I've already done this once and it's become my favorite flashlight in the house. Just because it charges nicely, it fits good in your hand, it's bright. I have here, you're going to need 2 LEDs, white LEDs, color if you want, but you know, you can look for the high brightness ones. Some of the other things, information in the package, you're going to want, you know, for a flashlight typically you want some higher angle. This one's 30 degrees. You can see they're measured in intensity of 7,000 MCD, and you know, you usually want something in the thousands. We're also going to need to know the typical voltage, which we'll work with later, but you can pick these up at any old Radio Shack. So alright, let's get started. So what we're going to do first is we need to take this thing apart. If you look on the bottom, you got kind of a notch there. That should take a flat screwdriver. So you want to find a big screwdriver, enough one that will fit into the whole thing, and you're going to turn it counterclockwise, righty tighty, left loosey. Try to get at least 45-degree turn, and then what you're going to do is you want to push it out. Now, if you still have the post, you could probably use that to push it out. We're going to use a Phillips screwdriver here, and out it comes. So you can see it here. You got the battery, and you got the electronics, and then you have the you know, the vibrating, probably an electromagnet type of thing here, the mechanics of it. So we're actually not going to be using all this. We're going to be removing all the mechanics because we will not need them for our flashlight. So to remove the mechanics, it actually comes out real easy, but what you want to do is see these lead wires here. We are going to need to reuse them. So what you want to do is, you don't need the whole thing, but you know, keep as much as you can. I'm going to do a little clip in here and a little clip in here somewhere, and then this whole thing will kind of come off there. And I don't know what I can use this for. Maybe I'll save that for some other project. And you know, you don't need this little spring mechanism or whatever that was. So there we go. Now what we're going to do, or what we'll need to do, is we're going to want to measure the voltage. I already know it's an alternating current. I can't remember what the voltage is, but we're going to check it here. Alright, so I got my multimeter ready to go. I got it set to voltage alternating, and you know, you can just push the button here and you can see it's actually turning on. And then you know, you want to put your leads on here. And let's see here. Oh, it turned off on me, I think. So we're getting about 2.8 voltage, AC voltage, and that's probably RMS. Of course, there's different readings for alternating current, but what we're interested in, the RMS value. So this is good because the rating on my LEDs has a 3.6 volt max RMS, and so we're going to be under it, which is good because then we don't need to worry about any resistors or anything. We're going to connect the LEDs right up to it. Now we're going to use both LEDs, and if you notice, you got one side, one lead on these LEDs is shorter than the other, and of course those of us who know LEDs know that the D stands for diode, so the current can only go one way. But since we're dealing with an alternating current, what we're going to do is actually wire these so that their opposite leads, or cathode and diodes, are actually together. So what this would allow is, as the current is alternating, when it's going one way, one light will light up. When it's going the other way, the other light will light up. It's going to happen so fast you won't even be able to tell, but this will give us full use of that alternating voltage, and it's actually better for the LED as well. So I'm gonna twist these together and I'll be right back. Alright, so what I've done here is I have the long lead on one. We're gonna twist it in with the short lead of the other, so I kind of spread them here. Just gonna take something like a needle nose pliers or something, and we're just gonna twist them together here. I got one lead done. Well, probably twist it some more here. It's not holding together. We're gonna solder this all later, so it'll be nice and neat. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and twist the other one. This. And we have to make sure, you want to make sure that nothing's the leads aren't, not making a short circuit here. So now we can test this here. So we're going to go ahead and test this. I'm going to turn this on, and when I go here, there you go. We're seeing my light here. Perfect. That's what we want. So we know everything's going to be good electronically. Alright, now we need to do some physical work on the handle itself. You can see here, essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using some brass wire to actually put these lights out in front of electronics so that we can slide them back in the tube. And so what we need to have happen is the light bulbs to come out the front here. We're going to have the light bulbs sticking out here. The problem is, this hole is not big enough for the two lights to fit through. So I got a big old drill bit here, and I am going to just drill this hole out, and then I'm going to make sure and test it with the LED so I know that they fit through there. I guess I thought I should film this that way in case the drill misses and goes through my hand. That would be a pretty cool video, right? So there, I got my nice big hole now. Kind of clean that up, and I'm going to test, and my lights easily come through that hole. So now what we can do is go back to the electronic part of this and finish that off. So a good way to do what we got to do here is you see my base here, and I'm laying my electronics right alongside it, so I know where the electronics is going to be. We note the buttons are lining up here and everything. Now you can use some stiff copper wire. I just don't happen to have any right now, but so I'm going to use brass. Brass, of course, will electrically conduct stuff. So I'm going to just make sure it's long enough. We'll trim it later. So it looks like I'm going to need maybe a 5 to 6 inch piece, and we'll need another one. And I'm kind of measuring it out here, so when I'm soldered in here, where I want it to be able to reach way up. After I get these good and soldered, I'll go back and figure out what I need to do, where I need to put the light and how to trim it down and everything. But right now I'm going to go ahead and do the soldering. I'm not going to show that because it's hard to do with the camera in my way. Alright, so I got my soldering done. And what I did, see the brass wire here, and made a little angle and another angle, and I soldered them right to the post. And we want to do this because we need some strength in this wire. We don't want it flopping around. So by doing that, we are attached to the electric unit here. Just to keep these wires out of the way, I did wrap them up on the brass wire there. I could cut them off. You never know. I might need to do another project or something. Maybe I'll like them there. I don't know. So they're fine. They're not bothering anyone. So we'll just keep them on the way. While we're looking at this too, notice this is a typical lithium-ion AA battery. So if you ever have battery problems with this, it's really, just look at it. It's really easy to swap out, just like anything with a AA battery. So okay, what we're going to do now then is we really want to start measuring out, where we want our lights to be. And, we're going to envision this thing inside here, and we're going to want our lights to just stick out the top, right? So basically, if I'm doing all that and I go here, I can kind of tell where I need to do some soldering. So I'm going to turn the film off here, and we're going to solder this up here, and I'm going to get it all measured. I might mark it with a permanent marker or something, and that way we make sure we get our measurement right. Measure twice, solder once. Alright, so I did my soldering. I clipped off my excess brass wire there I didn't need, clipped off some extra on the LEDs too. So we should have a working thing here, so we're going to, before we try to put this thing together, we'll test it. And yep, it's working very well. And so now the next step here is going to be installing it. It's not that easy. There's something we got to handle. Basically, because we removed the electric or the mechanical unit here, when you press down on the button, it doesn't fully press on this button here, the electronic switch here, the button, and that's because there's nothing down here to hold it. So there's different ways to handle this. One is to get it in there and then somehow wedge something in there. What I like to do is actually, we're going to drill some holes into the body here, and we'll actually put a little splint across there right underneath this bridge, and that'll keep that button right up against this button here. So but anyway, we can go ahead and go ahead and put this together then. So you want to make sure your lights are nice and close together, and we're going to kind of, you can see here I gotta move my lights, bend my lights a little bit so they line up with the hole. There we go. And they're fitting through the hole, so I'm going to go ahead and get it in there. I think, let's see here, I think this is turned a little bit on me. There we go. So we're in. I'm going to go ahead and lock it because I think we're done. We'll see. So that's locked back in, and we have it all together, but when I press my button, no go. And like I said, we need to get something underneath that button here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off here again, and I'm going to get a light and look down in there, and what we're going to do is I'm going to drill a hole right here and across in front of that switch, and I'll be right back to show you that. Alright, so by looking down the barrel of it here, I figured out I need to put a little stent or support, whatever, about at this level. I did it by just looking down here. So you see I got a little hole here, and I got a little hole here, and what we're going to do is stick this nail through here, get underneath the electronics, and come out the other hole. Once we got that, and then we'll trim up our nail real nice so it looks good. Okay, well, this ended up being about a 5 curse word job. I always rank my jobs by how many times I'm going to cuss. It's not the number of hours, it's how much cussing you're going to do. Anyway, you can see here I got my nail. I ended up, my holes were drilled too high, so I could depress the button, but it went undepressed. So I had to drill out the holes a little bit, and I don't know if you can see by looking at dead on here, but the nail's bent too. So the nail actually has kind of a dip to it, and that gives me everything I need here. So now this is actually pretty simple from here. What you want to do is I'm going to push the nail in a little bit too far, and I'm going to clip this off, and this is just a finishing nail here. And then actually we look like might have taken a little more than we want it, but we're still good here. So we're gonna then back it out a little bit, and we're gonna cut this side, and then what should happen is we push it back, and neither side is showing or rubbing you. However, it looks like I need to clip off a little more here, so make sure you're wearing your safety glasses. So I think what I'm going to do, we still got a little too much, and I want to be very careful I don't cut too much off. So I think what I'm going to do is actually stick it out a little bit, and I'm going to use my rotary tool to grind that down. So I'll show you that when I'm done. Alright, all done here. I brushed up my ending here. You have to be careful not to get too hot or it's going to melt the plastic. And then what I did is I used hot glue to fill in the gap here, so my light bulbs are nice and steady and protected from the weather. And I also used some hot glue to stick in the recess of this hole here, so it's nice and smooth now. And got a nice light now that just recharges just by simply putting it on its base. So like I said, this is my second one now, and I use it more than any flashlight in the house. Thank you for watching.